Hello guys, one of my students came to me and he requested that I do a detailed explanation or detailed explanations of completing the square method stepwisely, showing how these steps are outlined as part of quadratic methods of solving quadratic equations. I said, okay, no problem. And generally, quadratic equation is represented by ax squared, right? Plus bx plus c all equal to 0. So if you have this and you want to show the completing the square method, all right? What you need to do first of all is to divide through. The first thing to do is to divide through with the coefficient of s squared. That's the first thing. Divide through, the first one is divide through, okay, by the coefficients, of x squared. Then the question is, what is the coefficient of s squared in this expression? Is a. The coefficient of s squared in this expression is a. So we go ax squared, all right, over a plus bx over a plus c over a all equals to 0 all over a. Good. So automatically, what happens here is that a, we cancel a, and we have x squared plus bx over a plus c all over a. Of course, 0 over a remains 0, right? That's it. Then the second one without wasting time is take the constant term here. We are not going to consider here. Take the constant term. The constant term here is c over a. To the right hand side, take the constant term, okay? The constant term, where's my chalk? Don't worry, I have a lot of chalk here. So take the constant term, to the right hand side. To the right hand side. This is the right hand side. Look at this. This is the right hand side. Why this side is the left hand side of the equation? So the instruction is take the constant term, which is c over a, to the right hand side. So let's do that. It becomes x squared over a. All right? No, we don't have over a here. X squared plus bx over a, right, is equal to minus c over a. That's it. That is it. 0 vanishes. We have done that. We have taken the constant term to the right hand side. That is this. Then the next one, the third instruction. The third instruction is find the half of the coefficient of x. Find the half, okay, let me abbreviate it. Find the half of the coefficients, I'm going to abbreviate this too, of x, comma, when you find the half of the coefficient of x, what happens? Square and add it to both sides. Add it to both sides. Both sides. That's what the instruction is. So how do we now find the half of the coefficients of this? It means coefficient of x here is b over a. So b over a times half. And this will give b times 1 is b, a times 2 is 2a. That's the half. The instruction said, after finding the half, square it. So we're going to square it, squared, right? squared, right? And the next thing is add it to the both sides. Add it to both sides. That's what it means. We're going to do that right away. Let's add it to both sides. We come back here, we have x squared plus bx all over a plus this. B, we need to have enough space here so that we don't squeeze things unnecessary. Squared plus bx over a plus bracket open b all over 2a bracket close squared equals to minus c over a, right? And then what happens next? We add this again because the instruction says so. B all over 2a bracket close squared. That is it. We have obeyed the instruction given in number 3. Find the half of the coefficient of x square and add it to both sides. We've done that. So let's see what happens. What happens? Then the fourth instruction is, the fourth one is, let's see. Oh, factorize the left hand side. Factorize. Factorize the left hand side. How does that happen? Or how can we factorize the left hand side? Look at the left hand side. It has to do with s squared, right? So we factorize this and it becomes x plus the half. B all over 2a bracket close and squared. Alright? Okay? Factorize the left hand side and then simplify the right hand side. Okay, let's complete it. And simplify. Simplify the right hand side. We factorize the left hand side and then simplify the right hand side by saying minus c all over a plus b squared all over 4a squared. Good. How? B squared, 2 squared is 4, a squared is a squared. Right? That's it. The next thing is we find the LCM, okay? Or rather, we do it this way. We find the square root of both sides, okay? But first of all, let's look at finding the LCM. That's fourth. This should be fifth one, which find the LCM of the right-hand side. Of the right-hand side. So quickly do that. Finding the LCM of right-hand side, we retain x plus b all over 2a squared is equal to, the LCM here is quickly going to be 4a squared. Good. And what happens? A divided 4a is lowering, is going to lower this, is going to reduce this to 4a. 4a times this will give minus 4ac. We put our plus sign. Alright? Extend this line a bit. It's becoming interesting, isn't it? Alright, so the next thing, 4a squared divided by itself is 1 times this becomes b squared. Eventually we can still turn this. Interestingly, we can still turn this to be 2a bracket squared is equal to, turn this way, b squared, because it's positive, minus 4ac all over 4a squared. That's it. Okay? One more step. Alright? Okay, let's just clean this part. Let's just clean this thought instruction and see what the next step will be quickly without wasting time. Alright? Let's see. Okay, now we have this. The sixth instruction should be find the square root of both sides. Sixth one is find the square roots. The square roots of both sides. Of both sides. Nice, that is it. We're going to find the square root of this side and the square root of that side. Let's go. This side we have square roots. going to be bracket open x plus b all over 2a bracket close and squared equal to. The square root is moving the other side. It must assume either a positive sign or a negative nature. I repeat, it must assume either a positive nature or a negative nature. So that's why we have plus upon minus, plus upon minus. That is why we have plus upon minus. And then square root up, b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. That's it. We are making progress. Beautiful progress. Okay, so let's take off this. All right? Gradually, these are steps. We should outline before we can make the application of completing the square method. That's it. So what does this mean? It means that this squared, we take care of the square roots. And we are left with x plus b over 2a, right? Is equal to plus upon minus. What happens here? Let's split out the square roots. Let's split out the square root. We have b squared, right? Minus 4ac all over square root 4a squared. Good. And finally, having split this out, what do we have next? X is equals to b all over 2a, right? Plus upon minus. This becomes a complex number. This becomes a complex number. We just leave it the way it is, or we just retain it the way it is, and we have square root b squared minus 4ac. But this is not a complex number. We can find its square root. And that means 4 square roots, or the square root of 4 is 2, and square root of a squared is just a. Bravo. Can't you see? We have reduced everything to this point. One more step. One more step. Simplify further. If you just take that as the next instruction, let's simplify further. Alright? Let's simplify further and see what happens. If we simplify further, it's very simple as well. Let's see what happens. Instruction number 7. Simplify further. Simplify further. Right? If we simplify further from these aspects, what happens is that we are going to bring in, we make x the subject. We make x, look at x. We make it the subject by taking in this factor. It becomes x is equal to minus b over 2a plus upon minus, right, square root. This complex number b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Good. Further simplification as well. What do? We find the LCM. Of course, the LCM is looking at us. X is equals to. The LCM remains 2a. Nothing changes. We maintain everything. Put whatever you have there. Minus b plus upon minus square roots b squared minus 4ac minus 4ac is being solved. Can you see that? It's been proved. We have arrived at the almighty formula that we call formula method. Almighty formula, indeed. I'm just trying to trace out things clearly, right? It's been solved. Okay, that is it. That is it. QED. QED. Interesting, right? We have finally arrived at the almighty formula. In other words, known as formula method in solving quadratic equation. So with this, you can solve formula method. With all these steps, from number 1 to number 7, you can solve, completing the square method when you are given a certain quadratic equation to solve. That is what it means. We are going to apply this. So quadratic equation, solution to quadratic equation, equations have 4 methods. One is factorization method. The second one is completing the square method. The third one is formula method, which you are looking at on the board. And the last one is a graphical method. We are going to take them one at a time. For the time being, I want to thank you for your time and for your watching moments. See you in my next class. See you in my next class.